Hello and welcome to Hello Governor, the podcast. As always, I am Abdel, and with me today is Feodor Chin. How you doing, Feodor?
Oh, Feodor. Yeah, yeah.
Feodor,
Yes.
Feodor. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh
so
no, quite all right. Quite all right.
so. I'm. If you've listened to the show, you know I'm really bad with names. Where I where it's one of those things where my mind. I don't know if this happens to you, where my mind is like I see a name. And I pronounce it the way it's spelt, but a lot of times
Sure.
it's not pronounced the way it's spelt, and that
Oh.
confuses me. And I'm just like, ah.
No, I tell you, you and me both. I am terrible with names, and I'm trying to be better at it. Yeah, it can be a real problem. But yeah, especially well, you can imagine with a name like Theodore, you definitely would not be the first, uh, and probably will not be the last who has gotten it wrong or mistook it for something else, and yeah, so it's it's all good.
No, I mean, but I just love it that, whenever, because when I was a kid, I don't know if you grew up, watching cartoons or whatever,
Mm-mm.
but, I remember like looking at the names of the credits and back then everyone had like white sounding names like Billy West, John DiMaggio,
Sure, sure.
so
Yeah.
and so. And then,
Yeah.
looking at the current generation of people and them having non-white sounding names, I'm like, you know what? I like that. It's like they
That's a
didn't have
good
to
thing.
change it to sound white. And I'm like, that's
Hey,
great.
yeah, it's a good thing, you know. Be your authentic self, definitely.
So, I mean, the first question is the obvious one. How did you get started and what made you want to get into voiceover?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I think like a lot of folks, I got bit by the acting bug in high school, probably. Um, it was probably English class. We were reading a lot of plays and we were reading Death of a Salesman at the time, and our teacher Ms. Fuller showed us it was Dustin Hoffman's performance on Broadway as Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman, and I remember just watching that and just being blown away by like wow what is this guy doing, like this is amazing that he was able to just really transform himself into this role, and it just it was just yeah it just really stuck with me, and it became yeah I just got bit by the bug, just wanted to tell stories in this way, and so yeah that was definitely the genesis of it. And as far as voice acting specifically, I think unlike a lot of folks coming up these days, yeah, that definitely was not initially something I ever really considered. But I got my start in San Francisco after I had graduated from UCLA. I went back home to San Francisco, where I'm from, and was working and living there for a few years. And in at the time, in a kind of a smaller market like that, I had an agent, and they would send you out for just about everything. Television, commercials, print, voiceover, because there was just you know uh, it wasn't just television and like theater or television and film. There was everything, and so I think that was where I got my first exposure, certainly to voiceover, and it was something I really took to because I think a lot of times for on camera or even in theater, you're limited by how you look, quite frankly, and so with voiceover, I think there's you can experience a greater diversity of roles that you get to play simply because it's just your voice, and so I think I found that really appealing too.
And what do you love and hate about what you do?
Oh gosh. um, well, I guess I mean there's so much to love, but certainly I think part of it is uh, like I mentioned. I think the initial I just love being able to tell stories. I think storytelling is, one of it's deep within our DNA. I think as human beings to want to share stories with each other, and I think as an actor, getting to do that is it's a gift, really. So certainly, yeah, I love that. I love uh, anytime I get to act, and even if it's just auditioning, just getting the opportunity to act. I think that's wonderful. Um, so as far as things I hate, um, let's see. I guess I hate not being able to work all the time, but I think that's probably true for any profession. But I think with acting sometimes it can be a little more apparent because honestly, yeah, you're probably spend more time not working than working, so that's that's certainly something to hate. But that also gives you time to you know, uh, do other things that you enjoy, like spend time with your family and friends and you know, research. So yeah, I mean, I guess there isn't too much I hate about that, but yeah, I guess I would just love to, like any actor, I would just love to be able to work, all the time.
I mean, if the last couple of years have taught me anything, it's that acting is not a very sustainable profession because you had the strikes,
Oh
back-to-back
gosh.
strikes, and all this other stuff, and
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
we
yeah.
had the, we with COVID, with the pandemic, and then the strikes. Certainly, it has really affected our industry, and it it has, yeah, certainly, made it tougher than usual in what already is a pretty tough industry. But I think like everybody, you find a way. You find a way, and but yeah, for sure, it's not for the faint of heart.
So, I mean, and I gotta talk about Overwatch because it's crazy to me that that game is like 10 years old now, and you've
Yeah.
been there since day one.
Hmm.
It's crazy. So, like, do you remember much of your audition for Zenyatta, or is that just a distant memory?
No, no, I remember it well. And I think I was just talking to someone about this the other day. Uh, yeah, I was lucky enough to have had already done a few Blizzard projects. I think, namely, World of Warcraft and the Mists of Pandaria expansion. And so, yeah, I was kind of in the Blizzard world, and so I remember getting the initial auditions for Overwatch, which at the time I think the code name was Prometheus, maybe. But and so certainly I don't think any of us had any idea what it would become, or what was going to be. But we knew certainly anything with Blizzard was going to be probably a big deal and something you'd want to be a part of. And so yeah, I had gotten auditions for Zenyatta and also Hanzo, uh, interestingly. And I remember, just based on the artwork uh, that they had also sent, that I remember looking at Hanzo and thinking, oh yeah, that's a cool looking character. I'd love to be that guy. But I think I think it worked out, certainly, because Paul Nakauchi, certainly does a terrific job with Hanzo, and I don't speak any Japanese, so I think that would have been would have made things more difficult. But yeah, the with Zenyatta, there was also definitely some early artwork, but it was it was definitely interesting because it's like, oh, he's an omnic, he's a robot, but he's a monk. And so I think that was an interesting juxtaposition. Like, oh, okay, well that sounds cool. And I think initially we had kind of worked on a couple of different possible voices. Even well, he's Tibetan. Like, would he have some kind of an accent? But he's also a robot, so like, why would he why would he have an accent? And I think we settled on something that kind of captured the very kind of Zen-like, peaceful, essence, I think, but also had a kind of robotic or synthetic quality to it. But I think what appealed to me the most about him is that, uh, like a lot of characters from sci-fi that I really enjoyed. I think specifically like Mr. Spock from Star Trek or Lieutenant Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. They're not human, but they kind of strive to be human. At least certainly Data, you had that quality, and I think with Zenyatta. That I felt like that was important. That although he was a robot, he wanted to transcend that. He wants to be more human, and so I think we're that's what we were going for, certainly with the initial audition.
And I know that you get asked this a lot, but I gotta know, what are some of your favorite Zenyatta lines?
Yeah, I think for sure. I will not juggle. I think is always fun because yeah, with all his orbs, I think he probably gets asked that a lot. Um, but also, I dreamt I was a butterfly, which I think really captures his Zen essence, but is also kind of like a nonsensical kind of kind of statement as well, which I think is fun.
Because my favorite will always be, failure is acceptable, giving up is not. I think that's my favorite quote in
Mm.
of
Oh, that is a good
anything.
one. Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah, no, he has so many great kind of inspirational quotes that it's good for me too, actually, to hear them.
Because I've been playing the game since it launched back in 2016, and I've told the story before, but I mean I started out as a Reaper main, but then I reluctantly became a Zenyatta main because
Oh,
no one would pick healer,
right,
and I was just like,
right.
you know what, I'm just gonna pick the guy I know how to play. So I love Zenyatta. I think he's one of my favorite characters, and I would always like, whenever roll Q comes on and it puts me on the healer position, I'm like, okay, I'm just picking Zenyatta because he's the only
No,
one I
and
know
we
how to
thank you for
play.
that. Yeah, we thank you for that. Yeah, that's the thing. No one ever wants to play support, I think, but it's needed, it's necessary, and we thank you for your service.
And yes, I do have his Rapid Discord trophy. I think that was one of the
Oh,
that's like one of the hardest trophies to get in the game, but I
oh,
got it, and it's like,
amazing!
yeah.
Congrats. That's terrific.
So. And it's so funny because I remember years ago having a conversation with someone. I was just like airing out my frustrations on Discord, to someone about the game, and they're like, and they said this to me. They're like, maybe you just suck, and I'm like, I'll have you know, I'm like, and I'm like, I'll have you know, I'm actually great when it comes to Zenyatta.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, let them know. Let them know. Yeah.
I mean, I have Reapers like, the get 3 kills with one clip achievement
Oh,
as well.
wow.
So, and
Nice.
I mean, good luck getting that now because that's damn near impossible. But I got it, and yeah, so
That's terrific.
yeah, so I've been playing Overwatch since it came out, and it's kind of crazy to me that it's been 10 years, and I'm just like, oh,
It is hard to believe. Yeah, I mean, and we've really it's gone through with the Overwatch 2 and then losing the 2 and bringing it back. It's gone through some real different iterations, but ultimately I think it comes back to the gamers and the fans who really make this game. Without them, we wouldn't be here, and we're always so grateful to them.
and I know that they've released tons of skins, and this is another question you probably get asked a lot, but
Uh-huh.
what is your favorite Zenyatta skin?
I think, I mean, the baseball one is certainly up there for me, and I think, I mean, I don't, I can't remember. I don't know if I don't want to, say that I came up with it, but it was certainly, I think we were at a con, and somehow that the thought of it came up, like, oh, it just seems so natural that with his orbs, why wouldn't he, be playing baseball? So yeah, I always have a real fondness for that one, uh, and of course the Cthulhu, the the madness one I think is pretty cool, and the Nutcracker too. Experience festivity. The Christmas one I think is always pretty cool too.
And I mean, I'm a huge Avatar: The Last Airbender fan, and I'm kind of glad
Mm.
that they made Zenyatta Aang. I'm like, okay, yes,
Oh
that makes
yeah,
perfect
yeah,
sense.
yeah. No, that does. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was a good one too.
And what aspects of Zenyatta's character do you personally relate to?
Well, I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and pretty chill. And I think certainly that Zenyatta is, you would say he's just he goes with the flow. He is a chill guy. But I'm certainly probably not as much as he is. But I like that. I try to be more like that in my own life, and so I think he makes me a better person. I hope. But yeah, yeah, I think we're both pretty chill.
And have you played the game, or can you not stand, or not good at video games?
I have, but I'm not great. And I wish, because I know, when Overwatch 2 was initially talked about, and there was going to be a campaign kind of a element to it where you could play just by yourself, and I would have loved that, because I think for me, what I why I'm more hesitant to play Overwatch or games like that is because I think I'm so bad that I wouldn't want to let anyone down, like on my team. And so when you're playing by yourself, you don't have that issue. And so I tend to gravitate more towards like a Grand Theft Auto, or Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, where you're just single player. Because yeah, if you stink, then it's just only you have to suffer. It's not anybody else. So that's probably why I don't play as much Overwatch as I probably would want to.
And speaking of the Ghost series, you were in both
Yeah.
games. Like, how did that?
Yes.
How did you get involved in that series?
Well, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I played a couple different parts there. And yeah, I think it was just initially just another audition. It Yeah, but yeah, got involved, and worked for a while on that game. And when the sequel was coming out, they reached out to me, initially, to help to help with casting. Reading with different folks they brought in, um, and then yeah, I auditioned for Lord Saito, and got that. And but yeah, they're wonderful people over at Sucker Punch. They do such great work, and I'm always just happy to be involved. However they want to use me. But yeah, I really am. I'm so proud of both those games. I think they're just so much fun. And because those actually I've played both those through, and yeah, just a great time. Uh, yeah,
And I gotta ask, like, seeing as you played the main villain in the second game,
yeah,
what was that experience like? Because I don't talk to a lot of people who played like the main villain of a main game. So like, what is that
yeah.
experience
Oh no,
like?
it was a real honor to be like the final boss, in a game. And I think what we had talked about a lot, was I think the most interesting villains, or the most interesting bad guys, are the most relatable. Whereas like they're not just kind of like mustache twirling, just purely evil. Like you should be able, as a player or the audience, to feel like, oh, okay, I see where this guy's coming from, or you can understand them, why they're doing the things they're doing, um, and because I think that makes a more interesting, kind of a deeper, emotional experience. And I think certainly with Lord Saito, we really wanted to convey that yeah, this guy certainly is doing some very awful things, but maybe you could see where he's coming from, at least a little bit, because I think that it just makes the characters more interesting and makes the gameplay more interesting. So I think that was a big part of it. But other than that, it is always fun to be the bad guy, and I think Erica did such a great job playing Atsu, and to get to play off of her. Uh, it was a real it was a lot of fun.
One of my favorite things about him is the fact that they go through this, so this is not really a spoiler. I mean,
No, no,
because as the story goes on, you see that he's a father and he has a
yeah,
complex relationship with his sons, and
yes,
I
for
and
sure.
I and I like that dynamic. I love that. I love the scene where Spider fails and he's like, you know what, you're done, get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember when we were shooting that, and just I think I can't remember if there was a line there or not, but I remember just they're like, yeah, just give us like just your most kind of disappointed, like, ugh. Just, I think, and that's in that cut scene there where he's just like, oh, just so disappointed. Because certainly, I think I think we've all maybe experienced that maybe with our own parents, or just that feeling, oh, you let your folks down or something. And I think we've all had that experience. So yeah, but that was certainly fun to do.
Plus, I mean, he got to work with Robert Wu, who I think is a
Yeah. Oh
very,
yeah.
very, very underrated actor, and I'm kind of glad he's
Oh,
getting
he's
more work.
no Rob and I. We go way back because we're both from San Francisco, and yeah, no, and it was a kick, and certainly for I think for him to play my son, and he's because I think he's a couple years older than me too, but that was a lot of fun. But I think for me, just getting to play the game is a lot of fun because it's like, oh, I'm just playing this, here's this game where it's just all my friends. And it's a real surreal experience.
Yeah, because I interviewed David Sakurai when the
Oh
game
yeah, uh-huh.
when the game first came out, and we talked about his character, and
Yeah.
he's like nothing like his character at all.
No, he's a very, yeah. I mean, he's a cool guy for sure. Like the dragon, I think, kind of. But yeah, he's yeah, he's a sweetheart. Yeah, real great guy. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the whole cast, honestly, with David and Robert and certainly Noshir, uh, you know, it's just all stars all around, and it was just so much fun to get to play with them.
And I'm kind of wondering, like, seeing as you guys do a lot of motion capture for these games or
Yeah.
performance capture, whatever the technical term is these days,
I
how
think
do
I think yeah, they're interchangeable.
yeah, but like, how do you keep a straight face when you're doing these types of scenes? Because you're dressed up and
Yeah.
you look like a Christmas tree. Let's put it
Yeah,
nicely.
yeah. No, I've said, yeah, I've said this before actually, that yeah, it's true. I think that is one of the harder things to 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 work with initially. That yeah, because you look ridiculous. I mean, you have these like kind of ping pong balls, on this sausage suit, and your little helmet with the camera and the lights right in your face. It is unlike any other acting experience because if you're doing theater or TV or film, a lot of times you get a costume and props, and that can certainly help with your performance because oh, you look like the part, and you're in an environment that looks like it. But when you're doing motion capture, it's just an empty stage. There's maybe a couple of blocks or something to, like, oh, that's a table, that's a tree. You have a stick that is supposed to be a sword, and so it really takes your imagination, which is if you want to go back to as a child, or when you first got into acting, I mean, that's what it's all about, is using your imagination. And so it's helpful to remember that when you're doing the motion capture, because you literally have nothing really physical or visually to work with. So yeah, but I think a lot of times I if they I'm sure, and I know they have them, but there's got to be outtakes, and if they ever do release the outtakes or the bloopers, I think that would be hilarious, because yeah, we certainly did have a lot of laughs, and sometimes it is hard to keep a straight face. I could definitely tell you, in the initial or that final fight, that Saito and Atsu have back at her homestead. And again, I don't think, yeah, it's a spoiler. The game's been out, and like there's gonna be a final fight. Uh, but yeah, we were filming that, and I think we were both pretty amped, because we know, oh, this is the final fight, and there's a moment where she swings her blade, and I'm holding that long kind of staff weapon, and I forget what it's called, and she splits it in half. And we were filming that, and she comes down, and I take the hit, and I was just so amped up, I think I tripped on my own feet and just completely fell backwards right on my butt, and helmet pops off too, and and Nelson Lee, the snake, he was, I think, off on the side just watching. I just hear him just laughing. So, but yeah, I would they should show that footage sometime. It would definitely. Lord Saito did not look cool or badass at that moment, I can tell you. But yeah, we had fun. We had fun.
And when I take it like when you're watching or playing the stuff you're in, you don't mind listening to yourself. Is that correct?
Uh I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I know some actors. Yeah. Have trouble with that. But yeah, I've never had problems listening to myself. Sometimes I don't. I don't care to watch myself, but that's a different thing. But I think with something like Ghost of Yotei, with the mocap, it does feel a little removed, even though, because like, yeah, it certainly looks like you, but it's less, a little less. I think have that feeling of like watching yourself. Uh, there's a little more remove, and so I think that could be helpful.
I think it kind of bugs me when I think to me like I don't want to say bug, but like I think to me like it becomes a little bit uncanny valleys when they model the character after the actor when they're doing
Mm-hmm.
motion capture.
Uh
Because
huh.
I can't tell you like how many times I'm weirded out whenever like Deborah Wilson shows up and it's just like CGI Deborah Wilson. It's like, oh, there's Deborah Wilson.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, it could go. Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, certainly, it's cool to see some of your favorite actors, but sometimes that can take you out of it. But also, yeah, it's just amazing with the technology, what they can do today. When I did an episode of Love, Death, and Robots, and I played two different characters in the episode, and one of them kind of looks like me, and the other one looks nothing like me. And but it's it's just amazing to still see that it still works. That what they can still use what you did, as far as like facial capture, and put a completely different face on it.
And speaking of like speaking of like your other work, you've done a lot of television as well. Like,
Hmm.
do you have a personal preference when it comes to like live action or animation, or does it not make a difference to you?
I mean, yeah, it sounds corny, but yeah, I just love, anytime I get to act. But certainly, um, yeah, and they're all different and rewarding in their own ways. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I probably I enjoy personally, I enjoy watching comedy, and I love anytime I do get to do comedy. That's That's to me that's always fun. But yeah, I just enjoy any opportunity I get to act for sure.
And speaking of comedy, you were also in the new series of the Futurama revival.
Oh
Like
yeah.
how did that whole thing come about? Because I think that's like amazing that you get to be a part of like an
Oh,
iconic
yeah.
show.
No, it was an honor, an honor for sure. Well, I think so I initially I auditioned to be to uh, take over the role of Leo Wong, and who Billy West had done brilliantly at. But I think these days when we're talking about more inclusivity or authenticity, I think maybe you want to try to get actors and who are at least in the same ballpark of the character's ethnicity that they're playing, maybe. But I think any actor would say like, oh, I should, I could play any part, and whether or not that's true, the reality of our industry is that not everyone is afforded the same opportunities, and so I think that's why there might have been a push towards more inclusivity, and I think that's a good thing. But yeah, so I auditioned for Leo Wong and got that and got to play him in a couple other different parts, and but yeah, just getting to step in that world, and uh, I we did a couple episodes actually, with pretty much the whole cast, in studio, which is rare, especially these days. And so getting to see and work with everybody was just such a thrill. It was Maurice LaMarche and John DiMaggio and Billy West, and just getting to see Billy, because he'll do entire scenes where it's just him talking to himself, as Fry, and then as the professor, and it's just wild to see someone just switch so quickly, and just yeah. But they're all so talented, and just getting to be in the room with these guys is a real thrill.
That's incredible that you guys actually got a chance to record together because that's so rare
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, and I think I'm not sure if that was maybe how they usually did it, but certainly. So what I remember when we were recording those, that was pretty much coming out of the pandemic, and so yeah, it was definitely a kind of a yeah a new thing to be like, oh, okay, we're all in the room together. This is different, but yeah, I think it's one of those things that yeah, I think it's nice when you get to do that because you used to get to actually play and play off of each other. But you can understand for whatever reason, it's not just medical reasons, but certainly just costs and stuff. Why they probably don't do that as much. But you know,
Yeah, yeah, but I think I say this a lot, but I think that, I miss the days when people recorded ensemble because the performances are just better. I'm sorry. Like,
I mean, yeah,
once
yeah. I mean, an argument can be made for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember when I was doing the regular show. We certainly did all those in studio with the cast, and that was that was great. Yeah, because you get that in person and that give and take, and it's yeah, that would be nice if they got to record more of them like that.
and that's another show I wanted to talk about as well because I just remembered, oh yeah, you were also in like the last season of regular show. What was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
experience like?
Oh, it was great. I mean, yeah, another, yeah, just great people, so talented all around. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and yeah, I mean, not to get too maudlin about, but yeah, that was at the old Cartoon Network studios, which is no more. But yeah, that it was fun to be a part of that final season for sure.
And another show that you're a part of that I think that I've never seen people talk about is Wild Pack, and I'm kind of like,
Oh,
yeah, and
no, thank you.
that's a real fun show, and I'm kind of like, hoping we get more of it, but who
It
knows?
is. It is.
Know.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, I think people are watching it. I hope they're watching it. But yeah, I got to do a couple of characters on that, namely Mr. Bo, a fellow who owns a boba shop. But yeah, that one is that's a fun show for sure. Um, and yeah, I hope more folks find that.
Yeah, because I remember talking to someone else who worked on it, and I'm like, I love it because it reminds me of old school Nickelodeon, where it
Yes,
has that style, that ugly but cutesy art style,
yes, yeah,
and the
yeah,
vibe. I'm like, yeah, this is we need more of this,
yeah.
you know?
No, it's pretty wild. It's pretty kooky. Definitely, I think the at least the one episode that sticks out to me is yeah, Mr. Bo in his boba, they had put this real puckery lime, and it was turning everyone's faces into like buttholes, basically. Which sounds crazy, but yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, it definitely has that real kind of old school vibe to it.
And out of all the characters you've voiced, which one would you say was the most difficult?
Difficult. I think definitely with Leo Wong, I felt there was some pressure because Billy had done it for years and did such a great job at it, but he was very gracious, just in terms of like passing the torch, if you will, and letting me you know kind of make it my own. So I think initially that might have been a little anxiety inducing, but I think once I knew I had the freedom to be like, well, this is your role now, that definitely helped.
Yeah, because it's very rare when you take over a legacy character. It's very rare does the other actor say, "Oh no, it's fine," you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and Billy, he's just such a great guy. Period. That yeah, he was very gracious about it, and yeah, I never felt like there was any kind of stepping on toes or anything. So yeah.
And what was the best and worst piece of advice you've ever been given as an actor?
Hmm. Well, best piece of advice. Well, I I don't know if this was given to me, but it's certainly something that I would give. That I think the best piece of advice would be just be open. You know, in terms of being open to different opportunities, um, different genres, different ways of working. Because I think, like we talked about the difficulty of sustaining a career, certainly in this industry. Um, it's helpful to be open to things that you might not have initially even considered. And because we were talking about like how did you get into voiceover, and like I said, it wasn't something that I initially was thinking about, but certainly open to it. And I think a lot of times with younger folks who are coming in, it's like, oh, I want to do voiceover, but just anime. It's like, well, I think you want to keep yourself open to there's commercial work, there's audiobooks, there's all kinds of different things you could do and still get to act and get paid for it. And certainly, I think you're not if you close yourself off or you just focus on one aspect or one segment of the industry, you're potentially going to miss out on some really good and fulfilling work. So I would say that would be I don't know if it's the best advice, but yeah, it's certainly so. I would hope some good advice. And as far as the worst advice, let's see. Um, hmm. I can't. I mean, I guess hopefully it was so bad I've forgotten it. So yeah, I can't think of anything.
Just in the ear, out the other, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And outside of acting, do you have any personal hobbies?
uh Gosh. Um, well, right now it's I don't know if it's a hobby per se, but like really everything that's taking my time is my wife and I. He's our son. He's going to be 2 in about a month, and so we have our 2-year-old guy. He's certainly taken up all our time and energy, as he should. But yeah, I don't know if it's a hobby per se, but like basically everything, if I'm outside of work is basically working for him. So that's I guess he would be my hobby right now. But yeah, I couldn't ask for a better one because he's a sweetheart, and he certainly wears us out, but it's great and we love him.
And speaking of that, it must be difficult to balance your work and personal life now that you have a family, because it's like, how do you do that?
Yeah, it does, but I think in many ways, and I've joked about this, that as soon as you have a child, I found in a way it you know your own hopes and dreams kind of go out the window. I mean, like, and I'd say that kind of jokingly, but also like in a way, I feel like it takes the pressure off because you're worried about this other human being and not so much about yourself anymore. And I think in a way that's kind of freeing. I mean, obviously, you still want to be able to work and provide for them, but your focus changes, and I think I think that can be a good thing.
Well, yeah, because you want to be the best father you can be, especially in a time that's really confusing and makes no sense to anybody. So,
Yeah. Why? What do you mean? No, I was kidding. Yeah. Yes. No, I hear you. These are wild times we're living in, and yeah, I think certainly the prospect of raising hopefully what will be a good decent human being can be difficult, but that's what we're all trying to do here.
yeah, it's funny because like a lot of people I talk to, got married and had kids post pandemic, and
Hmm.
I think that's because like during the pandemic, everyone realized, oh man, life is really short, and I gotta like make the most of it.
Yeah, well, that's certainly. I think that was a good, if that's the takeaway, that's a good one to have. You know, just yeah, really seize the moment and make the most of your life for sure.
And what are your plans for the future? Speaking of life, and while we're waxing poetic about
Well,
life.
yeah. Well, we're just here. We're still at it. Auditioning and whatnot. And gosh, we have. There are some things coming out that I don't think I can talk about yet, but yeah, there's certainly some other roles that are coming up. But in the meantime, yeah, Ghost of Yotei is still out there in Overwatch. I encourage any of your listeners to play them and check them out. And yeah, Futurama is coming back for another season. And Wild Pack, like we talked about, it's currently airing and it's a fun show, so please check it out. But yeah, other than that, I'll just hear my wife and our boy and just trying to be the best that we can be.
Yeah, I also want to ask, like, seeing as a lot of actors are doing conventions these days, has
Mm.
that been something you wanted to dip your toe into, or do you
Oh
have no
yeah.
interest in
Well, I
that?
mean, definitely we've done we've done our share of conventions and certainly when Overwatch was at its peak and now that it's coming back, we're definitely open to it. If any of your listeners would like to see me, reach out to your local con and let them know that you'd want to see me. And yeah, I definitely would love to come out to meet folks, and especially any Ghost of Yotei fans for sure. Yeah, but yeah, and it's always such a pleasure, especially to meet the Overwatch fans. They're always such a great group. Um, but yeah, definitely open to conventions.
I also want to ask, like, God, I'm just like, I'm terrible
No,
today. I'm
no,
like, oh no, I also want to ask this thing. I keep,
no. No,
I keep
no.
forgetting. I'm like, oh no, no, I got to ask him this as well before he goes. But
That's what we're here for.
yeah, but do you still keep up with any of your co-stars from any of the projects you've worked on, or do you not like see each other?
I mean, I think I can safely say that, yeah, I mean, Overwatch definitely made a lot of us friends and family for life. And I think that was, you know, like we were saying, it's such a rare gift, especially in the voiceover world, because, it's such a generally a kind of a solitary endeavor where it's just you in the booth and you hardly ever get to meet anyone else. But, because Overwatch was such a sensation, and we did a lot of these conventions together a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, Carolina Ravassa, Anjali Bhimani, Johnny Cruz, Lucy Pohl. These are, some of my best friends for life now, and we do get together, you know, as often as our schedules allow. But yeah, just it was a real gift getting to meet all these guys and get to be friends with them for sure.
Oh, and I also want to ask you about the Marvel What If series because
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that was such an underrated role of yours, and I'm kind of sad
Oh,
that I kind of want to see you reprise that role in in more media. I'm
thank
like,
you.
because it's really good.
I would certainly love to. Yeah, that was, you know, Tony Leung, did such an amazing job with that in the film Shang-Chi. Um, and getting to kind of, follow in his footsteps, is certainly an honor. Uh, but also just getting to play opposite, Kate Blanchett, I mean, come on, as a dream, it's a dream come true for sure. And they did such a terrific job with that whole show, but that episode in particular. But yeah, I don't know if you watched Marvel Zombies. I did. You do get to see, uh, Wenwu in there briefly, and he has a nice moment. So yeah, I would definitely check that out. But yeah, I would love to revisit that character some more for sure.
Yeah, because I'm just like I'm at that point in my life where I'm just like, if you're gonna get someone to be the official voice of a character and it's a legacy role, just have them be the main voice of the character from moving forward,
Hey, yeah, no, hey, that's from your lips to God's ears, for sure. I would love that.
And before I wrap this up, because I know that you're a busy guy, you got a family and all that stuff, and I don't want to keep you on longer than I should. Is there anything else you're currently working on that you can talk about that you want to plug, or and where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me. My website is feodorchin.com, or on Instagram, or Threads, or Twitter at Feochin. Um, but yeah, there's definitely, yeah, there's something coming out. Unfortunately, I can't say, but other than that, the aforementioned, Ghost of Yotei, uh, What If, Futurama, Marvel Zombies, Wild Pack. Yeah, just any of those, please enjoy and check them out. And yeah, feel free to reach out on the socials. But yeah, I'm just here plugging away.
Still auditioning, still hoping that something sticks.
That's always the hope. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time after this. This has
Oh,
been
no,
a
of
wonderful
course. Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Thank
And
you.
once more stuff clears, I'll get you back on and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yes. Yes. For sure. For sure.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
All right. Take care.